The Hardys. Why am I not surprised?
Officer Riley, it's good to see you.
Hey, Joe. Your dad send you two down? You have an interest in this case?
Nope, we came on our own.
We're friends of Lily Spencer. Her father is Samuel Spencer's brother. Anyway, we thought we should come see how she's doing.
Not anymore, he's not. I'm renouncing him as my brother. Do you hear me, Thomas? I renounce you!
Calm down, Mr. Spencer. There's no need to fly off the handle here.
Who are these boys, officer? Vandals? Hooligans? Are handcuffs called for?
Mr. Spencer, meet the Hardy boys.
Hello.
Hi.
Hardy, eh? Fenton's kids?
Yes, sir.
I know your father. At least I knew him. I haven't seen him around in quite some time.
He retired from the police force a while ago.
Ah, well, as you can see, we are quite busy around here.
Yes, we know. We're here, on behalf of Thomas Spencer.
Scoundrel! Backstabber! My own brother! That he has called in the proverbial cavalry, puerile as it may be, is further proof of his guilt.
You suspect your own brother in this theft?
I do more than suspect him, young man. I consider his culpability a virtual certitude. Nobody but he knows the combination to my safe, which, as Officer Riley will attest, was opened without force. The vile criminal knew the combination. My brother knew the combination. I think you can follow my chain of logic.
I can barely understand a word you say.
Officer, shall we resume searching the grounds?
Of course, Mr. Spencer. Now, you two boys stay out of trouble. If you need to speak to Lily, she's in the entryway consoling her father. I'm detaining him there until we figure out if there's any way someone else could have gotten into the safe without some dynamite. Seems like a nice guy. I'd hate to arrest him.
I know him, officer. I'm sure he didn't do it.
Character witnesses are all well and good, Frank, but Thomas Spencer's gonna need more than that. Things look bleak for him, I'm afraid.
Come on, Joe. Let's see if we can spot anything Officer Riley may have missed.
Frank! What are you doing here?
Hey, Lily. We heard about the robbery and just wanted to see if there was anything we could do to help.
Oh, hey. Hi, Lily.
How did you hear about the robbery? We just found out about it ourselves a few hours ago.
Seriously. I'm standing right here. Frank, can you look at me a sec? Am I blending in with the carpet?
Our dad used to be a detective on the police force. It's a tight-knit group.
How could you help? And hi, Joe.
See? That's all I wanted.
Well, we know that your uncle is trying to pin this thing on your dad. We can prove that he's innocent. Assuming, of course, that he actually is.
Don't be silly, Frank. Of course he's innocent.
Could we ask you a few questions about the crime, Lily?
Oh, sure, Joe.
Frank, maybe you better ask the questions. I don't think she can hear me too good.
Have you seen any strangers lurking around the grounds lately?
No, I don't think so. Wait, yes, I did. I saw someone at the utility shed a couple of weeks ago. I think it may have been a repairman who got lost. I only saw him for a brief second and he was gone. I never saw him again.
What did this repairman look like?
He was maybe 6 feet tall, dark short hair, looked older, maybe in his 50s or so. Very thin.
Where is this shed?
It's around the west wing of the house. I don't think anyone uses it anymore, so I can't imagine the man knew where he was going.
What do you think of your uncle?
Honestly, he isn't my favorite person in the world, and it isn't just because of today. He's never been nice to us, always acting like he's doing us a favor by letting us live on the grounds, when the truth is, we're the only company he has. Without us, he'd have no one to order around.
So, who is your favorite person?
I can't imagine how it's important to the case, but that would be my mother. She needs me, and I enjoy feeling like I make a difference.
Have you ever been into Samuel's safe room?
No, he doesn't let anybody in there. When he isn't working, he keeps the door locked.
How do you know he locks the door? Did you try and get in?
Frank, could you ask your brother to not be so rude, please?
Can it, Joe? What can you tell me about your father?
Unfortunately, I know nothing about my biological father. He left my mother and I when I was very young.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Don't be sorry. Mom married Thomas some time ago, and he has been the sweetest and most loving father a girl could ask for. I have no reservations calling him Dad.
Okay, I'll talk to you later, Lily. Thanks.
No problem. I like talking to you, Frank. I feel like I can tell you anything.
Hey, what about me?
There are a few things I could tell you too, Joe, but I don't think you'd enjoy hearing them.
What is it with girls in this town?
Hi, Mr. Spencer. I'm Frank Hardy, and this is my brother Joe.
I know who you are, Frank. I've heard a lot about you.
Dad!
Sorry, dear. What can I do for you, Frank?
My brother and I are looking into this incident. We thought maybe we could ask you some questions.
Budding detectives. Of course. It would be my pleasure. They aren't letting me leave, you know. They think I'm the thief. No one wants the truth to come out more than I.
They're keeping you here? Can they do that?
I suppose technically they can't, but it wouldn't look good if I didn't accede to the officer's request.
What do you know about the theft?
Very little. I was working in the yard this morning, same as usual, when Sam came running across the yard, waving his arms and yelling at me. He said, "I knew it. I knew trusting you was a mistake. You think you're smart. You think breaking a window is enough to throw off the cops." I just stood there. I had no idea what he was talking about. He went back inside without coming any closer. A few minutes later, the police arrived, and, well, here I am. It's a shame, really. It goes to show that no good deed goes unpunished. I don't know why he felt the need to tell me the combination of that darn safe every week. He even made me write it down.
Where did you write it down?
On my hand. I usually memorized it by the time I showered, and to be perfectly honest with you, if I didn't memorize it, I didn't lose sleep over it.
He thinks the window was broken to make it look like an outside job?
Yes, that's the conventional wisdom, but have you seen it? The break didn't shatter it. If the thief's intention was to get in through the window, he would have had to find another way.
What is your opinion of your brother?
He's an odd duck, paranoid, quick-tempered. He's been that way as long as I can remember. I care for him, I truly do, but he can be difficult to deal with.
Why do you think your brother suspects you?
Well, $200 million is a lot of money. I don't mind admitting that I'm a little strapped for cash. If it weren't for Sam, we'd be in a pickle. But I would never steal from anyone, least of all him.
Do you have any idea who the thief could be?
I'm baffled. Sam's argumentative and aggravating, but he doesn't get out much. I don't think he has any enemies, although I suppose $200 million is enough incentive to steal from your best friend.
I know your daughter from school.
She's beautiful, isn't she? I love her as if she were my own. She's my second wife's daughter. I should say my last wife. Second sounds like I plan on having a third, which I don't.
Can you tell me about your wife?
Sure. I met Mary almost 10 years ago now. It was love at first sight. I had already been divorced for some time, mind you. Eventually, I married her. I was a little gun-shy after the first go-around.
Where is she now?
At our house on the manor grounds. She has polyneuropathy. She's been wheelchair-bound for some time.
Lily certainly is beautiful.
Oh,
You think so, too? Well, perhaps after all this blows over, you'll have to ask my permission to take her out on a date.
Oh, I didn't mean that. I meant that, yes, she's beautiful, and I was just agreeing with you.
Don't worry about it, Frank. You seem like a nice kid.
Thanks for your help, Mr. Spencer.
I guess I'll be here for a while if you have any other questions.
Thanks. It's a grandfather clock. It looks old and expensive. It's locked. It's locked. It's a paper shredder. Dad had one until we accidentally shredded his best tie. What can I say? We were young. There's a shredded piece of paper in here. There's nothing written on it. Totally blank. There's some glass on the ground here. I'll just take this. Could come in handy.
Mr. Spencer, mind if I ask you a few questions?
I suppose not, but make it snappy. I have a lot on my plate, you know.
When exactly did the break-in take place?
Last night, possibly early this morning. I don't really know. The alarm didn't go off, but I'm not surprised. The circuitry in this old place isn't very reliable.
Has your burglar alarm malfunctioned before?
It rarely functions at all. It's quite expensive to redo an entire electrical system. But seeing how this one dates back to before before I can remember, I suppose I'm going to have to take my lumps and just do it now.
What time did you discover the break-in?
I got up at the same time I always do, 6 a.m. I noticed the broken window before 6:30. I suppose you boys don't often see the crack of dawn, do you?
Not if we have any choice in the matter. No. Why do you think your own brother would steal from you?
Who can understand the workings of the criminal mind? Jealousy, greed, revenge. Who can say?
Is your brother not doing well financially?
No, not to speak of. He never seemed to care for money before, but since he remarried, I believe his new bride is applying the financial thumbscrews.
Why would Thomas Spencer want revenge against his own brother?
Like I said, who can understand the workings of the criminal mind? Certainly not me.
I've met him before. He doesn't seem the greedy type.
Yes, well, perhaps you should look to his wife for the necessary motivation.
Mr. Spencer, could you tell me how a typical day proceeds for you?
Gladly. I wake up as the sun rises, regular as the tides. I usually go straight to my study, check on things, and if the weather is clement, I open the window for a bit of a breeze. If it doesn't rain, I leave it open most of the day.
Did anything unusual happen the morning of the theft?
No, nothing at all.
No odd noises? No strange visitors?
No, I had a salesman interrupt my work at one point, but I told him to buzz off, which he promptly did.
What time was that?
I don't know. I didn't make a note of it.
Where do you keep the combination to the safe?
I don't keep it anywhere. I think of a new one each week and jot it down on a piece of paper. I leave the paper on my desk and glance at it occasionally until I'm sure I've committed it to memory. I then shred it.
When's the last time you changed the combination?
Why, it was yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Hmm.
Hmm? He says. By Jove, I think he's got it. The game is afoot. The little gray cells. Any one of those would do, but he says, What sort of two-bit detectives are you anyway?
Thanks for your time, Mr. Spencer.
Yes, yes.
There's nothing written on it. Totally blank.
Officer Riley, do you have a minute?
Absolutely. What's on your mind?
Are you really going to arrest Thomas?
No. Mr. Spencer wants me to lock him up and throw away the key. But to be frank with you, I'm not convinced he's the man we're looking for. The evidence is nothing more than circumstantial at this point. And while it may be incriminating, something just seems all wrong to me. There has to be another way for someone to have gotten their hands on that combination.
That seems odd to me. Why would Samuel be so eager to have his brother arrested?
We aren't ruling out the possibility that Mr. Spencer has an ulterior motive for wanting Thomas out of the way. You never know.
What evidence do you have?
Well, like I said, it's all circumstantial at this point. There is no sign of forced entry into the safe itself. It's a Mosler safe, and those are almost impossible to crack.
What's so incriminating about the crime scene?
There appears to be forced entry into the house, but upon closer inspection, I don't know that it holds water. The broken window seems a little fishy to me. The break is too small for a person to slip through. There isn't even any evidence that it was broken from the outside. It's certainly possible that someone broke the window to make it look like an outsider did it.
Do you really need to hold Thomas here?
Yes, I'm not sure he's the culprit, but I want to keep him around until we figure out if it's even possible that an outsider committed this crime. After all, if we eliminate everyone but Thomas from suspicion, well, then the next step is clear.
I really think you're barking up the wrong tree.
I hope so. If you find anything that might help out, please let me know.
Thanks for your time, officer.
Yes, yes.
It's locked. A doorstop.
Officer Riley, do you have a minute?
Absolutely. What's on your mind?
We know how someone besides Thomas might have known the combination.
Is that so? How?
Samuel Spencer changes the combination every week. He writes it on a piece of letterhead and leaves it on his desk while he works, occasionally glancing at it until he has it committed to memory. Then he shreds the piece of paper.
He also leaves the window open while he works when the weather is nice. And it was especially nice out yesterday.
Right. So in the middle of the day, the doorbell rings. He gets up to answer it and leaves the door to the safe room open. So when he opens the front door to see who it is,
A crosswind blows through the front entry, into the safe room, and blows the piece of paper out the open window.
Seems pretty unlikely to me. Why wouldn't he notice the paper was gone?
He'd already memorized the combination. He has a stack of paper on his desk, and it's all the same letterhead. He absent-mindedly must have put the next piece from the stack into the shredder, thinking it was the piece with the combination on it.
we found a completely blank piece of paper in the shredder. Why would someone shred a blank piece of paper? Except by mistake.
So the piece of paper with the combination on it blew out the window.
We think so, yes.
That's still pretty limiting. Whoever did it must have been on the grounds that day.
Yes, but Thomas certainly didn't have any reason to get the combination that way. Samuel told it to him that very night.
Seems pretty far-fetched, but I must admit it is a possibility.
Does that mean Thomas can go?
Yeah, he can go, for now. I don't want him running off. Tell him to stay on the grounds. I'm sure I'll have more questions for him later.
Great. Thanks, Officer Kahn.
No thanks needed. Justice does no favors.